Hey friends, AJ the Joy Weaver here. I'm really looking forward to talking to you about embodiment today and digging in with you. That is my puppy Cosmo, who's outside of the store, luckily. So I want to touch on a few different aspects of it. And of course, embodiment is a huge topic, right? So off the top, a couple book recommendations. They should be in our book list, but if not, I'll double check them. As Is by Erin Brown, Mother's Daughters and Body Image by Hilary McBride, Fierce Fearful Fire by Jen Hatmaker. High Performance Habits also has a really good way by Brennan Burchard of kind of helping us see the people we want to become and giving us some tools to get there. So embodiment for me, let me read you a quote from the book. Embodiment is tangible in the everyday we do things. Everyday way we do things. And sometimes we can get deeply rooted in how it feels by going all in on an evening or an event. Have you ever had a moment where you can recall, yes, this was good? Maybe it was a night with friends by the fire and you can still recall the warmth. Our bodies remember, but sometimes our minds forget what pleases us. So embodiment feels like this alignment, mind, body, soul, spirit, all of the stuff, right? It's all kind of like present. And so I wonder if we can take this like should of like being consistently embodied or being always on par or always high vibe, right? It's like this expectation that we can be solar creatures when remember we're lunar creatures as humans. Like we have cycles, we go through them regardless of your gender, regardless of whether you menstruate or not, or energetically, lunarly. We need naps, we need rest, we have moments where our emotions get the best of us and then we like process them, right? McBride says, Hilary McBride, who wrote Mother Daughter's Body Images and a whole other, she wrote the textbook on embodiment, is the experience of being a self in and through the body, not just paying attention to what the body looks like. Use this knowledge and look for those moments when you feel embodied and like yourself. When do you feel like yourself? When you dance, when you're trying something new or solving a problem? Maybe it's when you bake or when you cuddle with your kids. Use these as clues along your journey. We can loosen our fears by taking steps together. Taking steps towards celebrating your body might not be tattoos, but it could take form in the words we use, the boundaries we set, and changing the perspective we have of ourselves. So those are some words in the book. Another book that y'all have heard me talking about is The Holy Wild by Daniel Dulski, who's Canadian, which I think, I'm not sure. Canadian or American, Californian, printed in California. I don't think she's not from California. So she's talking about the priestess of the wild earth archetype. But have you ever had those moments? Well, and you're in this group, so I think the answer is yes, where you're like, there's got to be something more to this, more to life, more to me, more to magic of like feeling it, right? Of like this way to move through the world in like a sensory aware way. Have you ever seen Limitless? And he's like, kind of like that, but not, because like drugs that melt our brain and then make us enslaved to like senators or however the show keeps going. It turns into a whole thing and he runs for president and he gets shot. Detail. Rabbit hole. But so she's talking about this, and I will just read. In our personal epic stories of wounding and healing, wandering and homecoming, confinement and escape, there's always a pivotal moment when a choice that seems to determine our destiny is made. In tales that reflect aspects of the priestess of the wild earth archetype, that choice is often to flee, to break free from the ties that bind the body and soul to someone else's expectations and seek out a truer, wilder home. That's frustrating. In that moment, within the everyday life of a woman or person, a fleeting glimpse of infinite possibility is often offered up straight from the holy wild herself, a sacred and earthly nod that seems to answer the very question that has been twisting in her gut or there for a long time. What do I believe my soul truly desires, knowing all that I know of myself now in this moment of initiation? The answer is always authenticity, the chance to live freely out, the chance to freely live out the most genuine version of herself she can. They can. I mean, this whole book is just like, you can't really see it. It's highlighted. There you go. So I'm wondering, what feels more like authenticity for you? What if embodiment wasn't so much how we look in our bodies or feel? I mean, it is kind of how we feel. But what would feel true in your bones? And when we walk that out, that's embodiment. And when we feel more comfortable on the inside, sometimes we can feel more comfortable on the outside, right? With then letting our outsides reflect more of our insides, with maybe it's the way you dress or the way you show up or the way you hold yourself in a situation, right? If we feel like we don't have anything to offer in the place we're in, or we don't have anything to say, you know, we're like, okay, like go ahead and duck our heads and whatnot. But if we know that we have purpose and reason, and that we can sense the interconnectivity between ourselves and the people around us, we're gonna own that shit, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm so curious. So please comment below what this feels like to you. What does embodiment feel like to you? Because it's different for every person, right? For some people, it feels like this taking up all the space. And for other people, it feels like this deeply rooted. Other people feel taller. I know for me, it's like, I almost call it feeling even, not like numb, but like my body is calm and sure. And usually I'm like, and tonight I just finished, I'm in the process of my book of final edits, I guess, but just got through all the story chapters editing. So I'm like, oh, okay. And my brain is kind of spinning with all these different ideas, but I'm also like, this, like we're on it, we're doing the thing. And so that also feels like embodiment. It doesn't have to be a one layered, oh, if I don't feel like this good feeling, then I'm not embodied. Being embodied is just being fully present right where you are. All of it. Good and the bad. Good, the bad, the ugly. One of the ways, if you're like, cool, AJ, this is great, but like, I don't know what's feeling off and what's not, is you can do a super quick, easy exercise. How else would be in the book? It's coming up. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's 4 months on my end till September. So like right now, and then, oh, it does the thing. Great, you can read it correctly. That's lovely. And then like would love or dream. Glennon Doyle says, what is the most truest, beautiful story you can tell about your life or your marriage or your relationship with yourself or embodiment, whatever you want to fill in the blank with, right? Because so often we get in our heads of it should be like this, or this is the right way, or this is the wrong way. But when we should ourselves, right, we create these should stories and we just trip over them repeatedly. It's like tying our own shoes together and then trying to run. So if we can untie those shoes and say, okay, what's true right now, right? So you can put like you in here. What are you welcoming into your space? What's in here right now? What's not in here right now? What are you like, no, like, okay, I want kindness, goodness. How are you showing up for yourself right now? Like what's in your energetic sphere? Even things in your purview. So book, guild, spouse, house, mouse. Volunteering right now. So there's some things in my brain. I have some hard conversations that I'm putting off right now because I don't have the brain space for it right now. It'll happen next week. And what else is, oh yeah, I got some people pleasing sneaking back in, right? Habits die hard. So these are some of the stuff in, and support is kind of like half in, kind of feeling it, kind of not, like I can do it. Like, okay, rest. So rest is kind of half in, half out for me as well. This is kind of what mine looks like. Maybe yours will look similar, different. Use your crayons, live your best colorful life. Okay, now, dream world. What would feel beautiful, true to have? What would feel embodied and authentic for you in the way that you relate to the world? What's welcome in your energetic sphere, right? Because embodiment is also having those boundaries and saying, this is where I end and where you start. Like, here we are. Today, during a coaching call, somebody said, because I asked about holding two truths at once, right? You're like, hey, this is true for me, or this is the situation that happened and somebody else says, no, ba-da-da-da-da, this is what is really true. And you need to, like, how do you do that, right? When two things bump up against each other. And it's hard to stay rooted and embodied when we're in those moments where somebody's like, no, because XYZ. At the same time. So there's like your story, her story, their story, right? And then like an actual story, like the situation that happened. But we all have these lenses that we're putting on. So maybe if we can think about when people are doing that, we're kind of butting up against people and they're not hearing us either, right? Like it's not a whole conversation. Then maybe they're sharing. Like think about it as they're sharing their thoughts. If you're not going to convince them, they're not going to convince you. They just want to be heard. Okay. So what's in your sphere? What does this boundaries look like? So for me, rest, sacred space, lots of play. Because play is what we need a lot of. And it's usually the first thing we rip out from beneath our feet. When we need those support, when we need that break, when we need that rest, right? When we get stressed, the first thing, okay, I can't rest. I don't have time for a lunch break. I don't have time to go outside. Okay, but like when we take away the things that fill up our tank and we're only doing draining activities, the drink is going to drain. The drain is going to drain. You know what I'm trying to say? It's going to drain twice as fast because we're not filling it back up. And so if we can kind of measure and see what are the things that are pouring, what are the things that are taking away, what do we do when we're stressed? What's the first reaction we have? Is it to pull away? Is it to dive back in? Is it to ignore, to self-soothe, to nourish ourselves, to escape? All of those are good questions, all related to embodiment. So in this circle, what's in here? For me, I would like to put other people's opinions and thoughts about me. I got a new one the other day and I was like, okay. Just, you know, I want to encourage you that you are doing the best you can with what you got right now. This is the truth, right? Like, sure, maybe you could have done that differently the other day, the other week, the other month, the other year, when you were 18, when you were 12. We also can't go back. Nobody has it. Maybe somebody has a time machine. That would explain a few things. But friend, artisan, you have to give yourself grace for where you're at right now too. Because maybe it's easy to be like, I want to be here. I only want to be here. I never want to be here. But we oscillate back and forth, right? We grow and we contract. We expand to our edges and then we contract again. Oh, that was scary. Oh, that was okay. But I know I can take a bigger step. I was talking to Jared the other day and it's sometimes I get nervous, right? Here's the next big leap in my business or my faith or okay, like it feels like I'm going to be leaping off a cliff. And then I do the thing and then I look back and I'm like, oh, that was like just the next step. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Oh, look, here's another leap. Like, it's another cliff. And Jared's like, please stop doing this. But sometimes those next stages can feel really scary. And we can look back and judge ourselves for the small steps. But we don't remember always how expansive making that was, how big of a risk that felt, right? So give yourself credit where you can, because the whole idea here is to make the space that you spend in this one, what's the one that's not as fun? This one, less than the one here. But then the time between them is less too, right? Kind of like when you hop off the wagon, don't need to blow it up. Wagon's not going anywhere. You're literally the driver of the wagon. Wagon's still there. Hop back on the wagon. We're just shrinking that time down so that, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Oh, hey, okay, hi, body. Oh, these are big emotions we're feeling right now. What do you need? What feels good? What feels supported in this moment? Maybe I need to go for a walk. Maybe I need to take 5 minutes. Maybe I need to burn some incense in the corner. Right there. What are the things you need, right? That's one of the ways that we can oscillate back and forth when we're like getting overwhelmed with other people or things or stress or life. Okay, hey, how do I get all of me on board? How do I get all present? What does all of that look like? And that's the question embodiment brings to the table. So thanks for watching and I appreciate you. And I hope you know that I'm just proud of you and the person that you are and the person that you're becoming. and you're doing good stuff. Remember to be kind to yourself today, this week. Eat some delicious food, take a nap, go for a walk in the woods, or not. If you are a city person, go walk on the streets and enjoy the sights and the smells. And as always, sing your soul song. Bye, friends.